more about Bass Smart TV. Message over share no subscribe. I don't know. It's some because of social media. Some person we know koshe. Near Saba, near Saba, pensing. Pacho me and Combra.
Because and understand ceremony leadership Asia.
No, well, he's taking a decision. He's coming to announce it.
Oh, okay.
He didn't tell us what he was going to say.
Okay.
Until we don't know. He's going to make an announcement.
But me who say mo san PR mo continue ama worry.
Because nobody knows the announcement he's going to make. Okay. And they've occupied our seats. So I don't know.
The announcement in favor of the
my brother, please. Those who are supposed to talk are not even talking. So I don't want to, say anything. You've crossed me just to make a statement, and I've told you what transpired. That we have agreed. The speaker is coming to make an announcement. So whatever he says, he didn't tell us what he's going to say. So we are quiet, waiting, patient.
And to our expectation, the speaker.
I don't expect anything. He's the speaker of the house. So whatever he says, we abide by it. That's it.
So if speaker says he should be the minority,
But who am I to say no? If if that's what he's going to say, I don't have a problem. So please.
Very high. In fact, the day in Parliament today started at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
As at 4 a.m., the majority chief whip. In fact, as of now, the Speaker of Parliament has acknowledged that order from the court. Saying he has been served. Okay. He didn't make any further comments. But we know the order of the court was that his declaration has been stayed. So I think it's safe to refer to the majority side, the MPP side as the majority. So the majority chief whip, Frank Addo, about 4 a.m. he was already in Parliament.
4 a.m.
Yes, very early today. Because now what to say, their colleague in the NDC wanted to take over the majority side. So he went in there to first off try and stop that from happening.
Yes.
So he was there till about 6 o'clock when his colleagues, NDC minority known so Kwame Governor Goja himself,
minority chief whip.
Exactly, and other officials from their caucus.
Yes.
So when they came in, they had an allegation that, contrary to an agreement that he had, and in fact, Parliament had put out a circular this morning that, in fact, since last night, the Chamber of Parliament was going to be closed up until 8 o'clock a.m. this morning. So they were surprised that the Marshal's Department and other police officers and more Parliament allow everywhere inside. So there was a back and forth up until about 7 a.m. when some military men and Omukra sniffing dogs.
Yes.
And Krama almost sniffing around to check if there are no bombs and other explosive material.
And also apparently na speaker
I write it to the army chief of staff.
Okay.
Say they need training
for
and other bomb experts to come and check the precincts of Parliament because of the high stakes that at play today. So that was done. And so when the soldiers came, they asked Honorable Anodon to get out because they wanted to do a sweep of the entire premise. So they did that. So between 7 a.m. and about 8 a.m., about 4 NPP MPs, the Honorable Anodon his deputy Habib Idrisu, deputy energy minister MP from Poho, John Abamsani, and another MP who is the deputy minister for transport. They were there on the majority side, they were outside. And NPP side, a number of them, in fact, numbering about 30 of them were already there, led by their chief whip. They were waiting for the soldiers to finish the sweep and then they go inside. And then, about 15-20 minutes time, Dr. Kesela himself joined together with his deputy and then Mahama Yariga. So they were all standing outside throwing accusations at each other that the security and the Marshal's Department were seeking to give the NPP side an undue advantage over them in terms of entering the chamber. So they were all waiting for 8 o'clock. When it was time, they had to now form a queue and go through the metal detector so that they can go and take their seat. And so at 8 o'clock, that was the only time we had a small skirmish because one MPP MP, who is also the deputy transport minister, Ojina metal detector in him to block the other MPs from coming in so that his MPP colleagues can go in first. You see, Judge, MP they will push themselves, Accra, they'll push him, and then that was resolved immediately. Then they went in. So when they went in, obviously because NDC MPs are now Mabano also see NPP MPs, they overran them and took over the majority side in Parliament. NDP MPs and also sat at the majority side.
Omo ana abano.
Four no, led by Frank and they also sat there.
Okay.
And you know, there are only 2 black chairs in Parliament within the chamber. One for the majority leader, one for the minority leader. So Councillor Toforson went to sit on the black chair that is normally taken by Afenyo Market in the majority bench. And then Habib Idrisu went to the other side and dragged the other black chair to their side and also sat on it. And so today the proceedings throughout, no one was willing to sit on the minority side. So they all sat there up until about 9 o'clock. When Alexander Afenyo Market himself came in there with Brian Agyapong and a host of other NPP MPs, they came to call their colleagues in the leadership who were already in the chamber and said they should leave and then come. So they had a few conversations around 5 minutes. They decided to speak to the media and then explain. They said, resolution is said, and this is 4 point and they will not give them that. They will not give them that. So resolution is said they will go to their offices and monitor proceedings and wait for the Speaker of Parliament to come. And if the Speaker of Parliament comes and make a determination, then so be it. So they left in one voice. In fact, they chanted the party party anthem and everything, and they left. And then more Pierre and MPP and this for away. And how they who signs. In fact, some George and other MPs, they marched on the floor. They were singing the NDC revolutionary songs, their party anthem. The Arise Ghana Youth, they kept on singing for like 30 minutes on the floor of the House. So at that time, the majority MPs, led by Alexander Afenyo Market, had left. They had gone back to their offices.
It's not chamber on a car.
NDC MPs who were still occupying the majority side of the House. Ebobe nondu Pahwa 11 and a Speaker of Parliament convoy. And Obi ran the lobby no more conference center hall. And then he called the NDC leadership to join him in there. And then they also called Alexander Afenyo Market
in the same meeting with leadership. It happened here.
And in fact, they sat there. They did that meeting for close to 30 minutes.
Okay.
But it was clear, sir, they could not reach any agreement. In TB, meeting, Alexander Afenyo Market and the colleagues, they did not sit in the chamber. They just walked through the chamber and then stepped out and then left again. Okay. And then Atoforson and his colleague came to sit, and then we're waiting for the Speaker. And then Speaker of Parliament, in the next 10 minutes, he came. They did the votes and proceedings. They said a prayer. They did a national pledge. And the Speaker zoomed right into his formal communication to the House. He didn't speak for a very long time. He said 2 main things. The first was that officially the Supreme Court has served him with that ruling of last Friday. And he didn't say much. He didn't say what was in the ruling. Of course, we all know what was in the ruling was that it was staying a decision as regarding the declaration of 4 seats vacant. But he didn't say anything. He just said he had been served this morning. He has taken notice of that. But then proceeded to say that given the situation of the House currently, the House has quorum only to sit.
Yes. And do business.
But not to
make decisions. Okay.
And that was clearly right, because on the floor today, if all NDC MPs are there, even without Kwachiaka, they are 136.
Yes.
And that is not half of all 275 MPs present and voting. So that means they did not constitute the quorum to take decisions.
So, but again, not NDC MPs are never
yes.
Official no we are saying.
Because vote and proceedings is not out.
Yeah, it will be to me.
My calculations were right. They were about 120.
And
not all of them were there. Not all 136 were there. They are just about 120 per my count. It could be more. Officially, when the votes and proceedings come,
you be more present.
But when you now walk around, they are 136. They are unable to take any decisions.
But I know, so there is a bone of contention. And unfortunately, Speaker can't make any comment about that. He only said, Omu need the numbers to form a quorum for decision making.
Yes.
Yen himself from the case of Justice Abdullahi as Attorney General.
Yes.
The Supreme Court was clear in explaining 104, Article 104 of the Constitution, say to make a decision in Parliament, ube here at least say 275 and ube here 137 people. Now, what to me, Eddie, make a decision.
About 137.5.
0.5, of course.
And it can be 137.5. It's technically 138.
But I say Nipa no, Nipa half. I think the Supreme Court discusses, and I think they settled on 137 eventually. So unya sa number na, you can take decisions. And this is here, Speaker can say, Omu need numbers to take decisions. No, is it half of 271 and a half of 275. And the speaker can refer to. Say or refer to 275. Not just now he acknowledges say the status quo.
It remains.
Right. So I refer to 271. Just no disregard the Supreme Court decision.
And then and if this analysis you've done is anything to go, it will mean that the speaker now acknowledges that the order, his hand has been stayed. That is that there's currently 275 MPs, and that is why there cannot be half. At least half of all MPs, 137, for the House to proceed to do business. But these are questions the Speaker of Parliament himself would have to answer, because he left a lot of things very vague, for obvious reasons, so that it's left for interpretation in terms of what other persons.
And one other thing, so they say was even though Oba, na minority for no akwatena majority side, led by Dr. Casey Lato Forson. Speaker make comment be say why are they sitting there and moving through on call more original place or make comment be sir.
He did not. In fact, one would say maybe he took parliamentary notice, but he did not say anything about that. He just came in, they said the prayers, they said the pledge, and then he zoomed right into his official formal communication to the House. And so he did not say anything about majority, minority, why are these people. In fact, he did not even allude to the majority MPs who have decided to boycott sitting as of this moment. He did not even allude to them. Although just 10-15 minutes prior to that, he had met Alexander Afenyomarkin and his leadership. They had conversation. And in fact, the kind of indication we are getting in that meeting was that the Speaker of Parliament said he cannot tell MPs to go and sit here or there. And
information when you're from some meeting.
In fact, that was part of the reason why the majority MP said, we will not come and sit on the minority side, as that will be a tacit endorsement or acknowledgement that we have become the minority. So because of that, they also left. And that is the information I'm getting from some highly placed sources and some persons who were in that meeting. So he just zoomed in and then did his analysis on the fact that they did not have a quorum to take decisions. And then he said that on the basis of that, he's adjourning Parliament indefinitely. And this particular meeting, he has suspended it, adjourned the House indefinitely. He says there will continue to be talks. When there's any agreement and the House will have to come back, they will do so. It will mean that a lot of key government business, or 2 Supreme Court judges, their fate is now unknown.
And all the bills that would be affected. I know that there are some LIs and some bills as well now by contemplating, including even the free SHS bill. It didn't know a bill say what they are likely to be affected. But I'm present Busa way. Say, as we speak, do you know, say, speakers who are instructing the lawyers, say, share if they can also set aside the decision of the Supreme Court.
In fact, that was the indication we have been getting since yesterday. As of 3 p.m. yesterday, we had an indication that lawyers of the Speaker were at the registry at the Supreme Court trying to file. And then at some point, they were asked to stop by the Speaker himself that they should not file. In fact, this morning as well, an NDC MP, in fact, Dr. Dominica Ayine told the